Graham, under insolvency practice, creditors can feel aggrieved. Why is that?
Creditors can feel aggrieved, and rightly so, because they've supplied goods or services to a company that's gone insolvent and they're not going to get paid. They think that's unfair and they see the business continuing with the same directors, often from the same place. They feel aggrieved.
So is that the end of the story?
It's not the end of the story, and it isn't, because the insolvency practitioner, as one of his functions, is looking to increase the pot of money that's available in the estate for the creditors. That's an important function, and one that the creditors can assist with greatly. The insolvency practitioner's got very, very wide investigation powers. He can investigate the directors, he'll investigate the company. He wants to find out why this company went insolvent and how the directors conducted themselves before that insolvency. And the creditors are a very valuable source of information to enable him to do that.
What can creditors do?
I think what creditors can do is they can provide the insolvency practitioner with information, but they have very, very limited action they can take themselves. But fortunately for them, the Insolvency Act is a very, very powerful weapon, and the insolvency practitioner has extremely wide investigation powers. He can go against third parties to get information. If those third parties will not provide that information, he can get court orders to get that from them, or even have them examined in court. But he needs to know whether or not actually he should be using those powers, if it's worthwhile, and he can only make that decision based on the information that he gets from the creditors themselves.
What are the tools available to the insolvency practitioner?
If the insolvency practitioner decides that an action can be taken, then the Insolvency Act gives wide causes of action. There's wrongful trading. The directors have not taken all reasonable steps to minimise losses to creditors in the knowledge that the company could not avoid insolvent liquidation. They can be asked to contribute to the assets. There's potential breach of fiduciary duty and misfeasance claims, particularly if the directors have, in the run-up to insolvency, they've actually manipulated the affairs possibly to their advantage. There might be causes of action against them to contribute to the assets. There's also transaction avoidance provisions. If the directors have actually managed to dispose of assets of the company, either at an undervalue or within certain defined periods in the Insolvency Act, that can be brought back into the estate, all designed to increase the pot of assets that will be available for creditors.
So in summary, what's your advice to creditors?
My summary for creditors will be very much when you receive your notice of insolvency, don't panic initially. What you want to do is actually think constructively about how you can engage with the insolvency practitioner to give the insolvency practitioner the evidence and the information for them to have the tools available to investigate and, if appropriate, pursue the directors to get those directors to contribute to the assets of the company and increase the money available to the creditors.
How can Moon Beever help creditors?
Moon Beever is a niche specialist insolvency practice, and we have done this sort of work for in excess of 30 years plus. We've seen lots of this recession type of action, and we are more than happy to speak to any creditor who wants advice about where they stand in the insolvency process, what they can do to assist an insolvency practitioner, and how they can increase the returns for themselves.